Hi, Gregor here from BassTheWorld.com, and I'm here with my friend Marc.
That's me, I'm Marc.
Marc. And we're here at Sandberg Guitars in Germany, in Braunschweig. We did some videos and some stuff for Sandberg.
We goofed around a lot, Gregor fell down, it was great.
Yeah, this kind of stuff. Actually, what we are is, which most of you people will not know, we are actually the artist relations managers for Sandberg. There's one more guy, Stefan, but nobody really knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he exists, but...
Yeah, only he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And we thought we talk a little bit about endorsements and how to get an endorsement, how potentially get maybe a bass for free or like a boat.
Fuck, a boat?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
The boats in there, it's amazing.
Just a quick thing, Sandberg does not give boats, unfortunately.
It depends.
It depends. Really?
No, I am not allowed to talk about this. So what we want to do is just give you some points that we think should be considered before you apply for such a deal, and of course some thinking that should be done along the way.
Yeah, it's always good to think ahead.
It is. My first point would be like the very starting point. If you're interested in getting into some sort of endorsement situation, is the first thing is assess your situation. Who are you? Where are you, like on the career ladder maybe? How popular is your band, your project, yourself, maybe if you're a solo artist? How good really are you, and how big is your fan base and these kind of things?
Ultimately, you have to think about what you have to offer the company and what the company can offer you as well. How it could be copacetic. I speak English, and I'm not sure if I did that word right.
It is a word.
His English is better than my English. My German is...
on point. So I think before you even get started and start to reaching out, really get an idea of where you stand with the whole thing. And then, of course, follows the application. But before that, I think we need to talk about what kind of endorsement deals exist and so give you an idea where to start. First one I come up with, I would just call it brand affiliate. So we get actually sometimes requests from people who say, I don't want to buy anything, I don't want to have anything, I just love your stuff, I play your basses, they're amazing. I would like to be like officially affiliated with the brand, and then sometimes we do that if the artist is like in the range where we would do an endorsement deals anyway. Then we just put them on the website picture, maybe on social media.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to say lowest form, but that's like the simplest way.
Yeah, it's an introductory form. It's great for cross promotion. It's good to kind of like find new relationships too. I mean, sometimes there'll be a band who just wants to be part of the family, and it's a good starting point too, because as the bands grow, then also like the deal might grow with it. It's just it's important to have that starting point, and also we can't ignore the fact that there's like bands like on that introductory sort of level, and they play festivals with a band that's just enormous, and they happen to be friends and stuff like that, and it's just a good relationship to have. Yeah,
definitely. Next level would be
the artist price. Artist price.
What does that mean?
I said it 3 times. It's going to mean something different for every manufacturer. Sometimes it's going to be a set discount off of the street price. Sometimes it's going to be an even further discount based on their cost of goods and like where they're located in the world. And sometimes they just sort of make it up. Every company is completely different. Yeah.
And these also vary from like very little discounts to like, I think the lowest that you can get is actually this material cost deal.
Yeah.
This is like the best deal in this
range. Because they're not even
that you
factoring in labor, right?
Yeah. And this is, I mean, the materials for a bass is like for a 2,000 euros price is like $500 maybe is like the material. So this is a substantial discount and actually a good deal. So next step I think is actually we're getting into the world of free stuff.
Oh yeah, and, free shit. Everybody loves free shit.
We all do. And of course at this level you really have to bring something to the table. I mean, this is not enough to have a YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers or to have like to fill a 100 people venue. So this is like a major deal for big bands, for very well-known international bands. And I mean, it's free stuff. There's not much to say about it. Just company are happy that you use their stuff, and they will send you stuff. Maybe even sometimes without even asking. So they will just
it shows up.
This happens. And there's one more step up from free stuff, which would be
you get the money, baby. You gotta get paid. Ultimately, it's like the crazy top tier, like unreal people that have influenced everybody since the beginning of their career, like the Steve Harrises of the world. There's probably some sort of expectation.
Like everyone who's
we don't know for a fact, right? And we're not going to speak and say like this person definitely gets paid. But if there's a signature model, it's probably pretty safe.
I mean, we know a bunch of people, but there's no point pointing them out. But
if they have a signature model, it's probably safe to assume that there's some sort of deal because they're putting their name on there.
Let's talk about me again.
Of course,
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I know, man. We're really excited about that.
I just realized I'm getting promoted in some way. There will be a BassTheWorld base at some point. So but of course, getting money out of an endorsement deal is the most amazing thing you can do because you do your job that pays usually well already, and then you just hold this space and take this money and smile whenever you wear it, and that's probably just it. Of course, amazing, but limited to the best of the and people like me. And there's another thing to it, which is not really about money. It's just the kind of deal. So we here at Sandberg, for example, I mean, we are here and we are the guys. We don't do any contracts with anyone ever, because the philosophy, which I love, I didn't come up with it, but I carry it out. Obviously, is we don't want to tie you to the brand. We want to be friends with you. And in our case, I even like in the first email when artists ask what we expect, I always say, we don't really expect anything. I mean, we are happy if you play our basses, and we love to see them in videos and on pictures and when you're playing live, but we would never demand. And we would never come and say, why didn't you play the soundtrack on this show? Because we always say, pick the bass that just works best for the gig. I don't know if you're doing this, but this is how I do it.
That's exactly how I do it. Actually, it's the right tool for the job in any sort of thing with life. That's always been Holger's philosophy. But it's important to point out that there are expectations, just not expectations in terms of you can only play this bass this percentage of time. That's how our company works.
And we don't really reach out. So I don't check the endorsers if they keep playing the basses, because why? I mean, and it always depends on how this deal came together and how close you are and this kind of stuff. But I mean, in most cases, it's important for me to become some sort of friends, to have a very nice and just a good communication. And when you feel it's right, then this is the best thing you can do.
Yeah, and it's all gut feeling.
It's much more gut feeling than your actual credentials, to be honest. I mean, you have to have these credentials, but at the end, it's always gut feeling. Do we want to be affiliated with you, or maybe rather not? So I think that's the main thing.
And we'll get back to the gut feeling thing later too.
Next point would be how to actually write an application for an endorsement deal. Is there anything you would like to say about it?
Well, first you want to know who the hell you got to get in touch with, right? So if you have a contact there already, that's great. Usually a lot of companies, at least a lot of the larger companies will have an A&R department or an artist relations department that you can talk to. Sometimes it's just one person, sometimes it's a whole people. Other times for smaller companies, there's like a few people who wear many, many hats. Right, and they handle a lot of stuff. So you just got to find that person who handles the artist side of things.
But I think it also very often happens through other artists actually. That they meet at festivals and say, "Hey, I met this guy playing your bass and it was amazing. I want to have one like this."
Oh, right.
And this is how it very, very often happens. Like, I was recommended to you by such and such.
Right, and sometimes they even have that artist or whoever that they run into, and they have them reach out on their behalf and stuff. And that's super helpful because it's like a real endorsement instead of just random name dropping.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Next thing is when you kind of start to write your application, just keep it short. I mean, I get it's like PDFs, like pages and pages and pages with every single achievement of the person ever, which is, good for you, but we are not really interested in this kind of things. Just keep it to, list all your gigs, but don't list all your gigs. Keep it to the major things, that like career steps, to really big gigs, to successful projects. We don't want to hear about what you're doing with your wife. And also kind of a lot of older guys kind of write who they played with 20 years ago, which is kind of pointless. And do whatever you want, but you can just say we are the guys who are actually reading these applications, and as in any other case in the world, just keep it short, keep it interesting. Put a joke in there. I don't know. Do something that lightens the mood and bribe us maybe.
Ultimately, make us want to hang out with you.
I think that's always the goal for such a deal.
Right.
provide links to your social media pages. This is, I think, for me, can just talk for me, is kind of the most important thing right now. So we want to see your band on Facebook, wherever you are, Instagram, YouTube possibly. Just so we can get an idea how large your fan base is, because that's very hard to assess from afar, especially we are here in Germany, he's in the US, but you could be from anywhere in the world, and so we can't go to your local gigs and see if anyone's actually listening to you.
Yeah, it's a really, really good way to find out the correlation between how active you are and how big your fan base is. And like, you know, you could be the most skilled person in the world and like nobody would necessarily know who you are, but that could also be by design. So it's not like the end all be all.
Don't be afraid. So it's not the final decision, and we are not stupid. So we know how Facebook works, and it's kind of a terrible platform. So if your page doesn't do well, we will be able to see through that. I mean, we want to see the content you put out and just how you engage maybe with people and these kind of things.
So sometimes like a good example of someone who might not have a huge following because they're not active on social media would be like an educator, somebody who's actually, if you're teaching at a university or if you have like influence over students, that's important to know. Like we need to know those sorts of things for sure.
Oh, there's Mike coming through.
Hi.
Mike.
Yeah, so another thing in addition to social media, if you've got a video out there that's like popular or even just a video that like you're really proud of, send it. We want to see that sort of thing. You know, but it's also important, the brevity of all of this is still very important. So you got your links, you got your popular videos, you got gigs and things like that, and then the gigs coming up, the live gigs is also really important. We like to see live footage a lot. I like to.
I always check also if you have on a website, the band's website usually have like lists of gigs where they're playing, where they have been playing, so we get an idea of how frequently you are actually on the road, what kind of venues you're playing. But I would say for me at the moment, video is kind of the most important thing. Maybe it's a little bit just. I'm a video guy, I don't know if it has something to do with that, but I think it's kind of, especially as we went through the pandemic where there were no live shows, it was kind of the only way for musicians to reach out and get seen. I mean, you can get heard, but to get seen and to get some... videos have become... everyone should know that's very important.
Well, the videos are important because if you think about like going back to the point earlier about how you might not have a huge following necessarily yet, you might be a brand new thing that or in a brand new project that just kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody really knows about you, but you have somebody took a video from the crowd and you can tell that it's a big crowd. You might be opening up and the crowd's going batshit crazy. You can feel, you can sense that energy right there, and like there's a long-term sort of like there's a long-term investment for the manufacturers.
But don't get afraid because of all of these words, because there are also something like wildcards.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have 5 fans, but you really love what you're doing, you would be an endorser. I mean, that's what I do, and I never check back with anyone here. But if you're just really, really good, and I have a feeling that you're getting somewhere at some point. Maybe not yet because it just started out or whatever. But if I have a feeling this is a person who really wants to know and really wants to go places, then we will happily work with you. Of course, then you're not getting one of the major deals, but like an artist price. So
but we at least have a starting point.
Yeah, and I mean, can be good for us. I mean, it's always good for us. I think.
Yeah,
we never lose.
Never.
Never anything. So let's go to the whole next section, and this is kind of we talked a little bit about this, but what are brands actually looking for? Why are brands actually doing endorsements? And I think it all comes down to one major word, which is exposure. So
which is also a taboo word for musicians, and we'll get to the difference in a second.
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking about exposure in musicians, then it's always like, play for exposure, which is of course shitty. But in our case, there's an exchange of services and of products, so it's a little bit different. But of course, at the end, brands want to be known. They want their products to be out in the world, and the more popular and more important person you are, of course, it's even better to be affiliated with you because you will be seen by lots of people, and it comes down to that. I mean, there's lots of things that we're looking for, but at the end, of course, it's advertising. Yeah, it's just an advertising tool, and of course, we love. All the music brands love to work with people, but at the end, it's a business. We have to sell basses, and not we. Some people have to sell basses. And that's it. I think, we wrote down, ask them what they're looking for. I think it boils down to that. So if you're not sure what when you're going into such a deal, what to expect, what brands are. Just ask what would you like me to do. Some brands are very specific that I know that they ask for like frequently videos or some sort of social media. I mean, you should be aware of this, and you might run into a deal where you come across very high expectations that you just can't fulfill, and then of course such a deal becomes terrible at some point.
Right, but
we
never
don't do that.
We never hurts to ask. Never hurts to ask.
No,
never.
The very last point that I would really like to make, which is very close to my heart and very important because I've run into this situation and I would like to avoid this in future. That's why I'm doing this video mainly. Don't apply to all endorsements of all the brands.
Why is that?
At the same time. It's because people don't love it.
Yeah.
No, actually I had a case, I had multiple of these cases, but the worst was actually an artist reaching out to probably all manufacturers of everything in the world at the same time, and at this time I think I was working for 4 different companies, did all artist relations for them, and I got like the exact same email like through all the brands, and then also with like kind of like things in there that are very unique that you can do only once, but you offer to every. Just know that we kind of all know each other, we talk to each other, we are very open about these things most cases. It's the music industry, it's a very handshake beer drinking industry, so everyone knows everyone, and you should be very aware of that. You won't get blacklisted, but kinda.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that sticks in the back of our minds. It's just the way that you treat people, especially like if we see that there is if you're a player who's been going from company to company over the years and stuff, and then you circle back around to us, like sometimes there's a reason for that, and it's not always the perfect relationship. Of course, we take that into consideration, but
never because of us.
Yeah, but sometimes we know the other manufacturers. A lot of times we know the other manufacturers. We're friends with the other manufacturers, and then we know people talk. Basically, at the end of the day, people talk. I talk to him whenever there's a U.S. application. I still talk to him because we're colleagues, and he knows a lot of folks. He talks to me, and it's important to make sure that you're really trying to endorse the brand because you like them, and not because you just want to get the free shit or whatever services that come with an endorsement. We've already said that, but it's just important to reiterate. And on top of that, all of this stuff, if you're newer to this whole concept and you feel like you're ready to take the step into this, don't be afraid to reach out, especially if you follow these sorts of points. It's really important to reach out to find out, because as we've said before, it is a gut feeling. It's important to put yourself out there and not necessarily expect anything, but to ask and get information so you can learn for labor, because sometimes that gut feeling, we might really just genuinely like your music, and you don't necessarily check all the boxes, but we really like you and we want to grow with you. And so that's happened in many instances, many instances, but just don't be that person who just wants to get services and free stuff and just goes around to every company and sending the generic thing, because as the point that you were trying to make is that when you see that you're offering an exclusive thing, it's how can you do that with multiple companies? And and in his case, you read the same email 4 different times. It's insulting, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's insulting
to a certain extent, especially if the companies that you're working for are acting on it and they all send him bases. But that's a different story. I think that's mainly it. There are some more points that could be made, but I think this is just an interesting overview into the topics of endorsements. And if this is just something that you want to do, that you can do, and at the end you can as many endorsement deals as you want. Many artists have multiple. And some artists just want to be affiliated with one brand because they love this one specific thing, and they love it so much that they want to be affiliated with it, they want to become a face of it. And there are very different levels. I, for myself, and I think you're the same, we're working with all companies at the same time, which is kind of like a cool thing. And so I always try not to do anything exclusive. That's actually very important to me. But again, everyone has a
Yeah.
different approach to that.
Well, you also like you provide a service as well. It's not and like it's important to remember that like you don't just sit there to have it to collect dust.
Yeah.
Like you use it, you talk about it, you tell your friends about it. You have some sort of influence. Yeah, that's true. You're kind of, yeah. Well, that's a whole East German thing.
Let's stop the video. No, it's all fine. Yeah, endorsements.
Yeah, reach out.
High five.
If you want to find out about Sandberg endorsement, his email is Gregor, Gre.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, just ask him. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's
Talk about it.
talk about it.
We're just getting the conversation started. If you have any questions, comments, there's plenty of people like us out in the world. Just feel free to reach out.
He happily answers all of them.
I do.
I know. We're talking stuff. Bye bye.
Bye. That was good.